Hey guys, welcome to Knives Awards again today. And the news that have been going on for days is the Iran US peace deal. Is it a peace deal? Is it not a peace deal? Is it an MOU? It is not a done deal. 30 days, blah, blah. Everything we'll be talking about and analyzing today. All right, welcome once again to Knives Awards. Knives Awards. And the deal between Iran and the US government over ceasefire is said to be an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which entails one, Iran government opens the Strait of Hormuz, allows ships to go through without any hindrances or charged fees. America, on the other hand, to return $300 billion of the frozen funds of the Iranian government that has placed them under sanction with America. No more nuclear weapons, and everything will be signed as a permanent deal within the next 30 to 60 days if none of the parties cough. Okay, like nobody goes against the ceasefire and everything that has been documented in the next 30 days. And so they make it officially permanent between the two countries. Okay, what does this mean? Let's get it. Because everyone online, especially the far left people, are saying that the deal is not done. Trump just wanted to sign this deal ahead of his birthday. That is the same man that could not attend, don't let me say refuse, that could not attend the son's wedding. Okay? You think he cares about his birthday? All right. So, they said that he just wanted to sign it because of that. Some are already saying, oh, America already lost this war. There's nothing to fight for anymore. The money that was frozen, now they are returning it. What does this mean? It means the war has been lost. Iran has the upper hand in the deal, blah, blah, blah. What do I think? And what do I think it means? Okay. It's amusing to me that at this age and time, as much as people claim to be woke and conscious and aware, that people still don't understand that political wars are not fought to the finish. Okay, you fight it and you leave it for the next administration to continue if they wish to. All right, this Iran war did not start with Trump, and it is not likely to end with Trump. Okay, Obama came in and did what he could do with the situation back then. Trump saying it that Obama funded them, blah blah blah. He has come in to do what he thinks best for America with Iran, and he's not going to fight to the finish for it. He's just going to fight for what helps his administration. Okay, and so politically, you can't expect Trump to fight it to the finish. He cannot guarantee Iran not to have nuclear weapon. There's nothing he can do to guarantee that. And besides, if you look at the trajectory of the war, though they said it was to fight Iran against owning any nuclear weapon, but it has not appeared to be so over the course of the war. Okay, it has pivoted significantly towards economic issues. All right. And what are these economic issues? If you're following this channel, you understand that, and it has been proven over time that America, especially President Trump's administration, came into power, and his first approach, his first take or takes, so to speak, has been to one, uh, increase the value and the usage of the US dollar in the market, simply because the US is in debt. And the US is in debt simply because it printed too much money into the system during the COVID-19 period. Okay, so it has increased rate within its own market, and even recently, as a financial part of the country, they call them the hedge funds people. They are in serious problem now because they cannot lend, okay, loans to business owners or random people, entrepreneurs, or what have you, because the rates are high. Apart from the fact that people are actually not approaching them for these loans, they also don't have ready loans because people have begun to default, okay, on their loans. So they don't have money to even actually run the business anymore. So the hedge funds market is in serious crisis in America. Okay, so just go back through the videos and you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so America is in serious debt. Right now, I think America is running into $41 trillion in debt. Okay, so they cannot afford, America cannot afford for countries to boycott the US dollar. I don't want to be going back into the background of things that I've said in previous videos, okay, where the US dollar is hinged on oil market, okay. So the oil, crude oil, is hinged on the US dollar, okay, and the likes of Venezuela, Iran, and some BRICS country have started to boycott the US dollar before President Trump came back into office. Okay, and this is going to actually be a serious problem for the value and the respect of the dollar in the global market. So Trump went ahead to attack these countries that are doing business, oil business, outside the US dollar. Okay, so that is why there was war on Venezuela, war against Iran. And also by the side, America is trying to be the biggest and the largest oil reserve country. I'm a country to have the biggest and largest oil reserve in the world, okay, because of where the world is panning towards digital and technological face. Okay, so they are trying to read the market and realizing that, okay, if we cannot win technological prowess against the likes of China and India, if we are able to supply them with the resources to produce the technological products or machineries, robots, electric vehicles, EVs, then at least they are sitting in a side of power that still determines the production of technology around the world. Okay, so I don't think they're trying to fight China with technology. I think they are trying to, monopolize the resources to produce these technologies. Okay, hence when he said, President Trump saying that I think in the previous video where it was saying that they've been stealing Iran oil for quite a while without putting on the lights, jets flying with a lot of Iranian oil. Venezuela oil has been hijacked. They took their president and then they took their oil fields. And you know, wherever power is right now, let me say energy, America is going for it. Nigeria was not any different. I've also addressed this in the past videos, okay? They are coming after the oil. They are coming after anything energy. All right. So Trump's fight is in two folds. One, countries that deal with oil trade, have to do it in dollars. And they also, so it will improve the value of dollar. People will begin to trade more of dollar in the market. And it flows back into their own economy where they are able to, I don't know what they will be able to do in terms of, beating down their debt, okay, in their own American markets or economy. So on the other hand, they also need to accumulate and acquire this oil. America has oil, okay, and I've said this in the past. As a matter of fact, they are the largest producer of oil, okay, but it requires more in terms of the amount to drill the oil from their own soil, because their own oil is embedded within rocks, okay, it's in the rocky parts of America, so the Midlands and whatnot. So it takes more from them to mine this oil, whereas getting oil from the likes of Saudi Arabia or Venezuela that has it in bulk already, they don't have to spend as much, okay? So they are doing everything they can to minimize how much they spend, increase the value of their dollar to what will I use now, to get rid of their debt as much as they can, or at least reduce it. And on the other hand, plan ahead for the future, gaining ground. Okay, I don't want to go too deep into that. So it is not about nuclear weapons, so to speak, okay? And the release of the $300 billion, guys, if we think about it critically, if a country is fighting for the global market to use its currency, dollar, leaving funds, countries' funds, frozen does not help the economy, okay? They have to release those funds so that it goes back into the global market and it is traded with, okay? Although China, that had it in bulk, began to sell in bulk when the tariff war started, okay? But I think they've slowed down now. You have to put the money back into the market for it to be used, okay? That's where the value comes in. And so getting it unfrozen, I think, is in the best interest of America. Really, I think it's in the best interest of America. So that explains why they would actually let the $300 billion go. Another point is, it said troops are already leaving the Strait of Hormuz, okay? The naval troops are already leaving the Strait of Hormuz, dissolving the blockade, okay? So if it's an MOU, right, you don't lift equipment, military equipment, from a place of war, and something happens after 60 days, then you bring them back. Usually, it should have been like there's seizure. I mean, there's a ceasefire. Okay, those equipments are they no longer block the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, but they are still very much within Iran to swing back to action in case the MOU is not honored. Okay, so but in a situation where America is already removing troops and removing equipment, I think it signals that Trump is done with that war. Okay, I think it means he's done with the war. And the icing on the cake that proves to me that Trump is done with his own part of this war. What proves it to me is the G7 summit that happened in France recently. And I want us to watch this. Okay. First is how he entered, right? Okay, so Trump entered and okay, so Trump came in and did this. They said this.
Hello, I'm the boss. How are you?
So he is giving the vibe of someone who just, got victory or something. So let's watch Prime Minister. I mean President. Prime Minister, President Macron of France. What he had to say.
International trade, artificial intelligence, and peace in the Middle East, which we have been supporting for months. And so I think the G7 was. We held a G7 summit that made it possible to advance on many topics that are very important to us. Ukraine, international trade, artificial intelligence, and peace in the Middle East, which we have been supporting for months. And so I think the G7 was.
So did you hear that part? The peace in the Middle East that they have been supporting for months. We all know they have not been supporting for months. Okay, so him, PM Starmer, them claiming alliance with Trump right now signals victory. Okay, they didn't come before now to make this statements, right? To say, oh, they support the victory. Starmer had a lot of things to say immediately the MOU was signed, and Macron now saying, they've been supporting the peace. They didn't fight the war with America. They refused to, and that is why America has actually been, threatening to leave NATO here and there, this and that. So it's signaling that they have victory, at least very much, to a very large extent, that the war is done. Okay. So I would like us to pay attention.
It was a success. As well. And I wanted to have this more bilateral moment with President Trump to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence, which was also partly built here. It is important for our compatriots.
Si c'est important pour nos compatriotes, nous avons.
So there you have it, President Macron. Okay, so guys, I mean, as far as I am concerned, the war is done. Okay, America's markets are not responding right now. Okay, they are still skeptical. But I think it is designed that way. For America to take the position of loss, it means it has gained something, and two, does not want to give away what it intends to do next within its own country. Okay, the people, the capital market, Wall Street, what have you. I think it's trying to save something, or like gain something before the market erupts. All right, it's what I personally think. So, in my own opinion, I will say the American market is about to boom. I'll be for a short while, but it is about to boom. Okay, if you look at the capital market right now, even against the naira, you can see the dollar is increasing in the past few weeks, days. Now it has increased back to the 1004, 1000 high 390 something. So pay attention. Okay, I think the market is rallying right back, contrary to what people think. In my own opinion, I might be wrong, but it's how I feel. Okay, so I think the G7 summit kind of puts the icing on the cake for me that the war is done. All right, so also during the summit, sorry, I think there's something I wanted to bring to your notice. Yes, during the summit, yes. So I noticed something, that a lot of attention was placed on Prime Minister Modi of India. Now, this is a growing observation of mine. Okay, it's not like I have any strong opinion on it yet. I don't know the relationship between Modi and President Zelensky of Ukraine, but there was a video I saw where President Macron was having a talk with President Zelensky, and he was talking about, has he spoken with Trump, and then Zelensky was telling him Trump said he wanted to speak with Modi first. And Trump also speaking with Modi throughout the G summit. I mean, before the event commenced, while they were having the small talks. I think I have a video I would like to also show. Okay, let's come here. Is the second video? What's the second video? Okay, so here it is. There's this special attention given to him. Okay, this is not a video per se, but there's this special attention given to him. I think he's in the middle of determining a very important or let me say a significant political he needs to take a significant political position, I think, with these world powers. If you ask me, I would say probably borders on the BRICS. Okay, if Trump already has a good relationship, or at least bilateral relationship with China, there's an understanding between China and Trump. He mentioned it in this presser I'm going to show to you very soon. Okay, there's also an understanding between Russia and America, or let me say Trump now, And, you know, these three world powers having a sense of understanding, bringing India to the table to douse or make them see doing business in dollars helps America, helps America a great deal. It helps the American economy a great deal, especially if they understand there's no ambiguity with, how everybody gets to benefit from having relationship with one another. I think they will do it. I think they will see reasons to do it, if not for a very long time, but at least they will do something together. So, and let's not forget, world is broke. The world is broke. All these countries are broke. They need money. Okay, they need money for real. Yes, some are doing better than others, but they need that presence in the market. China needs presence in the world economy. Russia needs America to step off its neck. The likes of India wants to push its technology and its innovations to the world market. They all need one another right now. Okay? They all want to be on the global stage. And so they have to find a way to work with one another to do it. Europe wants to make money from war, and it puts America in a complex situation, having a relationship with Russia. And I think that's why, Trump does not really want to go into fighting with Ukraine in terms of, being an ally with Ukraine through NATO anymore. I think they're trying to find a way to, sort things out in that regard. As long as Europe makes money, I think if Trump finds a way for Europe to make money, I think the Ukraine war will be done. That's the truth. But I think the war cabals in Ukraine are enjoying the money coming in right now. And I don't think they necessarily want the war to stop. Well, maybe they do. And they are being, strong armed by Europe that has financed the war for a very long time. So either way, I think it is important for Trump to actually set the stage for how this country, I think it's up to Trump how these countries end up having relationships with one another economically. Okay, and I think they can sort things out, really. I think they do, because they need one another right now. Yeah, if one is able to actually outdo the other in the market without needing the other person, of course, everything can still go into. All right, so that is my take on the Iran-US MOU peace deal that has recently been signed. So I think the war is done. It might not have been done the way the Americans expect it to be done, but I think it is done. Well, oil markets has crashed, so I think it's over, guys. Let's take it on to the second story. Yes, I don't know if to congratulate Nigeria or to say, or I don't know how this works, but the news is that Madueke, former Minister of Petroleum of Nigeria, has been acquitted of all charges in the United Kingdom. Pause. Okay, what does this mean? Does this mean she gets all her assets, all her frozen assets back? Does it mean she can come to Nigeria now and she's acquitted of all charges here in Nigeria as well? What does it mean other things? Okay, so on this, I think I just mainly have speculations. Okay, so I am of the opinion that the prosecutors that brought the charges against her in the UK in the first place did not do their homework well. They didn't do a good job. It could be that they didn't do a good job, because the case went on. It has gone on for too long already. Okay, so but I think there's more to what meets the eyes with the case. It's possible, let me say, I think there's a middle ground somewhere where it's possible Alison Madueke forfeited the assets to gain her freedom. Okay, she probably forfeited those assets to gain her freedom. Or the other thing I'm thinking of, I don't think it really makes sense, them releasing the assets to her to have legal standing to borrow those assets if the United Kingdom is in trouble for capital needs and they see her as I don't know, but it's too skeptical to just say they had those charges against her only for it not to amount to anything. And what does it mean now? Can she, because EFCC already has some investigations going on concerning her, but they couldn't go forward with her because this had to be done. The UK charges had to be done. But I don't know. It's crazy. It's not as if Nigeria is able to lay charges against her, that the money will still come to the people anyway. So I don't know. I don't think it's a win for the Nigerian populace. For the Nigerian government, maybe they have something planned against her in case she comes back to Nigeria. But I have a video from her, which I myself, to be honest, have not watched. Okay. So we'll be watching it together here. This is the video.
But also, it's been very painful, very traumatic, but all.
Let's just see if I can expand this. Okay, I can. All right. What happened?
It's been very painful, very traumatic, but also, I suppose, when your freedom, essential freedom or basic freedom is taken away from you, no matter how gracefully you appear to handle it, it has a very deep impact upon you psychologically. I would think that there's a bit of blame, everywhere. I don't think one group alone could be blamed, but I do think that the Nigerian authorities need to look into the processes and practices that they deploy in these cases. Again, like I said, I think that the long arm of the law, when you go into other countries, particularly in politically motivated cases, needs to have a lot more sensitivity. It never ends well. I would say that I wish that in retrospect, they had taken a little more time to look into the basis for the accusations and to decipher the truth of that basis, particularly from the Nigerian end, and what they were being fed. I was the first female to enter this sort of position as petroleum minister and as head of OPEC in a very misogynistic society, patriarchal, if you call it that. No woman had ever got to that position before. And I think that being such a low-hanging fruit in terms of the opposition and what they were throwing, the accusations they were throwing at me throughout that period, I think I would have wished they had taken a step back and looked with a little more depth, I think, at the truth of the situation on ground. And also the things that I had tried to put in place in terms of pushing back corruption and fighting corruption in the oil sector, which had not gone down well with many of the cabals in the sector at all.
What do we say to these things? I think two things can be right at the same time, so they say. I think the thing there for me is nothing has still answered the question of how she was able to amass such wealth as a public officer. Okay, the private jets, the houses, the phones, the millions of dollars. In those countries, nothing can explain it. Okay, they might not have been able to have a substantial evidence against you, but in the moral sense of things, how did you come about that? How did you come about that much money? So I don't think she's righteous as she's proclaiming it, and she playing the misogynist card, patriarchal card. I don't know. I think that's more psychological. It's not as if it's not possible she went through that, but I don't think that's the core idea behind she having, like, nothing answers why she has all that money in her possession and all those assets in her possession. We had the same problem with Emefiele, for crying out loud. How do they amass this money? It is not, the people are not blind, okay? And you saying the UK government should have looked into, so what I'm getting from what she's saying, yeah, because I'm analyzing it based on what I just heard her say, is that the UK government worked hand in hand with Nigeria, and the information Nigeria supplied to the UK government was something the UK government should have looked more into to be able to decipher the truth from the information, instead of taking it hook, like line and sinker, trusting the information the Nigerian government gives to them. And so that, UK took too much time discovering that there were no basis to those accusations. One thing I know is when things come to the media in this manner, it's always half truth. Okay, it's always half truth. The whole truth does not come to the media in this situation. So I will not let myself be played, and I will advise as Nigerians that we don't let ourselves be played. I don't think anybody, whether UK, whether Alison Madueke, whether the Nigerian government, I don't think any of the three parties are innocent. So I'll lock it there. All right. Let's get to the editor's note quickly. So on the editor's note, I would actually be taking a piece of what I said from the Iran US war peace deal. And this time it's centering on Israel, okay? Israel is doing everything to sabotage that deal. And as an ally, as an American ally, I don't think they have any reason to throw bombs at Lebanon or the Hezbollah during this peace deal, okay? There is no, at least from the outside, really looking in, there is no reason, there's no need for it at the time. You can let the peace deal be done as an ally of America or United States, so to speak. You can let the peace deal be done, and then your war against Lebanon, Hezbollah, becomes an independent battle. So you're not trying to, it's like having a big brother who is trying to settle a case that you have, or let me say your big brother has a fight with your enemy, right? And is trying to, like, okay, let me find a way to make peace with this person. This person is your known enemy. It's not your big brother's enemy, okay? It's just, they just cross paths or got into each other's ears. Sorry, ears. Got into each other's hair. Jesus, I can't speak. And now they're trying to make peace, okay? And while they're trying to make peace here, they're just shoving a dagger at the person, trying to provoke this person. We're trying to make a peace deal here. Can you just chill? And that is what, Trump was saying about, you don't have to throw bomb on a whole apartment just to get one person, so it goes a long way. I don't know why Israel is trying to sabotage it, but can they really sabotage it? In my own opinion, I think no. I think the deal is bigger than Israel. I understand why Israel would do it, because the deal so far does not protect Israel in any form. Okay, there is no not blowing up Israel or fighting against Israel or retaliating against Israel or anything. So, and Israel that has fought side by side with America for this past few months would expect some kind of respect from America, but it should have been warned. Okay, they should have known that America fights for itself. Once it gets what it wants on the table, does not really care about protecting allies. It's only if its interest is in synergy with its allies that the allies get to benefit, really. So Israel can't so Israel trying to use that avenue to, like, okay, you all have to put me in the deal by, if I create havoc, then you lot will have to pay attention to me and not leave me vulnerable. But I think Israel is in trouble, and most especially the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is also in trouble majorly, because election is coming up in Israel this October. Okay, I don't know if it's this October, maybe next October. So he has wars to answer. He has war decisions he has made to answer to, and according to the news, is that he's not being favored right now. So I understand that he's left to pick the pieces of the war now. Is going to be the one to take the heat from the war, especially if Iran notices that America does not care what they do to Israel. So I get it, but Israel's fight is not enough, because if Iran is winning big with a deal, they will still go ahead and make the deal with America. And America will still go ahead and make the deal with Iran. And it will leave, Trump would definitely not do anything to fight with Israel against Iran if it has this deal locked. I don't think Trump is going to do anything to fight for Israel. Might supply Israel with weapons secretly, but I don't think it's going to embark on any war for Israel against Iran if it has the deal locked down. And I think the United States does at this point. So Israel is in trouble. All right, so that is where I wrap it up for today. Thank you once again for joining me. It's been a ride. I enjoyed the topics, and I hope you did as well, and was able to get a thing or two. And if you want to keep seeing my videos, please click the notification bell, like, share, subscribe if it's something that you find as valuable, and let it go far and wide for people to have more knowledge and awareness. And what I do is simplify and break down these geopolitical events, situations, for normal people to understand and fix the puzzle, how they connect and how it makes sense. Okay, so please, I would always like to have you here as a community. We can rub minds, comment. Let me know what you feel about the things that have been talked about and the things that are happening as well, how you see it, your own view about things, and let's rub minds together. All right. Thanks once again. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.